Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder if believing in hard work really gets you everywhere, or if maybe there is more to success than just trying your best? This new study dives deep into that very question. We often hear that if you work hard and are smart, you'll succeed. This idea, called meritocracy, is pretty common. It suggests that your own effort and talent are what matter most. But what happens when that belief starts to fade, especially as you grow up and face the real world? This fascinating study looked at young people in China over several years to see how their beliefs about success changed, and if those changes affected their mental health. So the big question here is, as young people move from being teenagers to young adults, do they start to believe less in the idea that hard work alone guarantees success? And if they do, how does that impact their feelings, particularly their levels of depression? The researchers were really curious about this, especially because it is a time in life when people are figuring out their careers and independence. A time when mental health can be especially tricky. To get to the bottom of this, the scientists used data from a big study in China called the China Family Panel Studies. They tracked over 500 young people for about 8 years, starting when they were early adolescents, around 10 to 13 years old, and followed them all the way into emerging adulthood, when they were 18 to 21. They wanted to see how their beliefs about what leads to success changed over time. And they looked at two main types of beliefs: meritocratic beliefs, like how much personal effort and education matter, and non-meritocratic beliefs, which include things like family background, social connections, and even luck. They also tracked their depressive symptoms over the same period. They looked at two groups of young people, those who went to college and those who didn't. This was important because they suspected that the experience of going to college might shape these beliefs differently. Imagine being a teenager really believing that your grades and effort will pave the way to a great future. Then, as you get older and maybe struggle to find a good job even with a degree, you might start to question that belief. That is the kind of journey the researchers were trying to capture. Now, how did they measure these beliefs? They asked participants to rate on a scale how important things like personal effort, education, family social status, economic condition, family social connections, and luck were for achieving success. They did this at the beginning of the study, when the participants were young teens, and then again several years later when they were young adults. They also used the standard questionnaire to measure depressive symptoms. So what did they find? It turns out their beliefs about meritocracy did change. Across the board, both the college-bound students and those who didn't go to college, their belief in meritocratic factors like personal effort and education decreased as they got older. It is like their early adolescent idealism started to soften as they experienced more of the world. But here is where it gets really interesting. When it came to non-meritocratic beliefs, only the college students showed a significant increase. They started to believe more in the importance of family social status, economic conditions, connections, and luck. The students who didn't go to college, on the other hand, their beliefs about non-meritocratic factors stayed pretty much the same. This is a key finding. It suggests that as college students navigated the transition to adulthood, they began to recognize that factors beyond their personal effort and education played a bigger role in success than they might have thought. As teenagers, they saw that social networks, background, and even just being in the right place at the right time could be really important. For the non-college group, this shift wasn't as pronounced. Now, let's talk about the link to depression. The researchers found that for the college students, those who showed a bigger increase in their belief that non-meritocratic factors were important, also tended to experience a steeper increase in their depressive symptoms over time. This is a really significant finding. It wasn't the general decline in meritocratic beliefs that was linked to depression, but specifically the growing awareness of non-meritocratic influences. Think about it this way. When college students started to really internalize the idea that success isn't just about how hard they work, but also about who they know or where they come from, this realization seemed to come with a psychological cost, leading to more feelings of sadness or hopelessness. This is like realizing the game might be rigged, and that can be really disheartening. The researchers suggest that this might be because college students, having often been on a path where meritocracy was heavily emphasized, are particularly struck by the reality that structural advantages and other non-effort-based factors play such a crucial role. This contrast between their upbringing and the realities they face as they enter the job market can lead to frustration and a sense of reduced control over their own futures, which can in turn contribute to depression. So, what does this all mean for us? Well, it highlights that the belief in meritocracy, while important, isn't the whole story. As young people transition into adulthood, they encounter a more complex reality. For educators and parents, it suggests we need to prepare young people for this complexity. It's not enough to just tell them to work hard. We also need to help them understand the influence of broader societal factors and develop skills like resilience, social emotional intelligence, and adaptability. The study points out that preparing students for the real world means going beyond just academic achievement. It means fostering a more nuanced understanding of success that acknowledges both individual effort and external circumstances. This is especially important in a world where higher education is becoming more widespread, and the job market is constantly changing due to things like automation. Now, like any study, this one has its strengths and limitations. A big strength is its longitudinal design, meaning they followed the same people over many years, which gives us a much clearer picture of change than just a snapshot in time. However, they did focus on young people in China, so it is important to consider if these findings would be exactly the same everywhere else. Also, while they found links between changing beliefs and depression, they can't definitively say that one caused the other, just that they happened together over time. Future research could explore these causal links more deeply and look at different cultures. In conclusion, this research offers a compelling look at how young people's beliefs about success evolve. It suggests that the decline in the pure belief in meritocracy, coupled with the growing awareness of non-meritocratic factors, particularly among college-bound individuals, can be associated with increased feelings of depression during the critical transition to adulthood. This underscores the need for a more holistic approach to education and guidance, one that equips young people with the skills and perspectives to navigate a complex world where success is shaped by a combination of factors. It is a fascinating insight into the psychological journey of growing up and understanding how the world really works. What are your thoughts on meritocracy and its role in success? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to Rubin's Mind Lab for more science stories, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the human mind. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.